celebrating the win, lamenting chances that weren't finished? Did you see other stuff? You get to clean up after a 3-1 win? What did they
Yeah, listen, it's obviously easy to nitpick when you get the 3 points. I would, and I think that's the most important thing is that, not having games in succession week to week, it's hard to build a rhythm. You're training, you're trying to provide, you're trying to create an environment where these guys compete the right way, but it can never mimic what flow is in getting games in succession. So I think there was maybe a lack of sharpness in the final third, but I think the most important thing is we really hit on being really aggressive in that final third and creating chances, and we were able to do that. And so, and I think defensively for the most part, the guys, front to back, did a good job committing to the cause. And if we're going to be a good team in this league, we've got to win both sides of the ball and in transition. And I think the guys did a good job of that. But again, I'm just really proud of the character of the guys in that locker room because it's not easy not having game in whatever 2 weeks and still creating the amount of chances and again, this KC team's a very good team. Their last win was away to LA Galaxy. They got some really good players. They're well organized, and so I don't want to diminish that aspect of it. It's MLS. Anyone can win, and the guy stepped up today.
Obviously, Diego Luna and his World Cup hopes are a huge story. This was his first start, and then he scores in the 4th minute. What did you think that did as far as mindset for the rest of the game, and what did you think of the way he performed?
Yeah, no, I thought it was always going to be tough coming into starting your first game, especially with the weight of expectations. And I think not only for us here at the club, but also for the national team. And I don't think anyone, unless you've lived it, understand how heavy that is. And to be able to perform and score that goal, I think took a lot of pressure off of him. I think he was dogged in his work rate, dogged in his defending. I think he'd like to have a couple decisions back in the final third. But again, I think getting him in those areas, he's a difference maker as he showed tonight. And I think this I think it was 80 minutes that he played. Will do him really well as we prepare for a tough 3-game week. What is it? Probably 2 weeks from now. So again, we're in that same thing. And I again. The reason why I think character is really important is because you can always make excuses in life. We didn't play in 2 weeks, and we have one game, and then we don't play for 2 weeks. And you can use anything you want to make excuses. These guys put their head down, do the best they can. They work for each other. They're committed to each other, and they play some fantastic stuff. So we obviously have some things to work on, but I think that we're going to make the best of this next week in preparation for a big 3-game week.
You're big on players, especially young players. How you train is how you play.
Mm-hmm.
Did Gozo try that kind of stuff in training routinely? Was he trying to do that in the game, or maybe the first touch gets away from him a little and he just adjusts and does it?
No, there's not a shot that Gozo turns down in training. And sometimes I'm always saying, find the better pass. There's a pass to be made here. But that's the beauty of youth, is they don't care. They're not worried about what their teammates are going to say if they take a shot from 25 yards out from a very difficult angle. And Gozo, to be fair, has, again, credit to him, he's been working on his game, and I think it shows in these moments where it's almost instinctual now. He's not overthinking anything, and that's what young players don't do. They don't overthink anything; they just go. And Aiden's the same way, and Luka Moisa and the whole cast of the youngers that we have, they're doing a fantastic job. And again, I think the big part of that is having supportive, experienced players around them that are okay with them making those decisions. And in this case, it was the right decision for Gozo.
Leading up to this game, and now just in the post game, you've pointed out anything can happen with any MLS team, and it doesn't matter if Kansas City's in last place. So when it's 1-0 at the half, and Swanson hit the crossbar twice and had a chance in the breakaway to score, and he didn't. Was there any temptation to go to a veteran or Otunje who can finish chances like that? Or because you had the lead, did you think, hey, the youthful guy's creating chances, he'll finish one? What was your thought process?
Yeah, I don't really think about it like that. I think more of how it affects the individual if I were to make that decision. I don't think about things like black and white as far as team and winning this game. I'm always thinking long term. I'm always thinking what's best for this individual in this moment. And if you pull them out there then when we put him back in, he's probably going to be half the player that he was, right? And so I think the hardest thing to do is get in positions to have those opportunities. That's the hardest thing to do. And his movement and his ability to see plays before they happen is what makes Serge a very, very good player. Finishing is obviously the toughest thing to do, and he's probably 6 inches away on a couple of those from netting a hat trick today. So again, I believe in all these guys, and especially with younger players, is you got to give them time, and they've shown in this short part of the season that they're all capable of making a difference.
What did you think experiencing his first start?
I thought Stein was exceptional today. I thought he was really good in possession, but what was really really great for me to see was his ability to repress. The amount of balls that he won in transition was excellent. The way he occupies space as a defensive as a midfielder, negating passes but also intercepting passes. I thought again, and the expectation would be that an experienced player of his caliber makes really good decisions, and I'd say he probably had 40 decisions to make, and he probably made 39 great ones.
Hey, Pablo, congrats on the win. How did the midfield gel? I mean, we had Alex step in on the left side, and it didn't seem to affect much of the team chemistry. Everything seemed to be on the front foot.
Yeah, I think the way I coach and the way the coaches work is everyone gets reps during the week, and I think the expectation doesn't change because someone else is gone. The expectation is that the player that steps in completes the tasks that are asked. And I think Alex had a really good game today. And little things that we've been working on, is not just crossing the ball to cross the ball, but really making passes across the face of the goal. And the one that Serge hits off the bar was a really, really high-level pass from Alex Katranis to find Serge in that spot. So, again, I'm just really proud, and that's why I keep talking about team, because oftentimes as coaches we can say, well, we don't have this guy. What did you expect was going to happen? But I'll never make that statement, because I believe that as a staff, we're intentional about making sure that everyone understands what their roles and responsibilities are. And the other part, too, is to allow the players to express their best selves. Everyone's going to make mistakes, but let's make mistakes trying to do the right thing for the team. And I think Alex and Stein are two guys that did an exceptional job tonight.
And then you didn't give up a lot of chances in the back, but there were 2 goals that went in, one called back for offside, of course. But any concerns back there?
Well, again, I think the goal that we conceded was, again, it was an individual decision. I think, again, oftentimes we get carried away about wanting to be a team that possesses the ball, and there's got to be this alarm system where the game state's really important. We're up a goal, or up 2 at this point, but we still want to play. We want to be professional in our decision making. We can't relax just because we have a 2-0 lead. We want to go to 3, but the most important thing now is preserving that shutout. And I think we just made a wrong decision on the back line that led to that goal. And credit to Jovic, he's a fantastic striker. That wasn't an easy finish, but he buried it. And I think that is a good reminder for us that we can't take our foot off the gas. We've got to be really diligent and focused in every moment, because every moment can change the game.
Pablo, congratulations. What do you take from a game like this where, by all expectations, this is the result that was expected for Real Salt Lake? Do you focus on what happened, or maybe what you could have done better?
Well, a little bit of both, right? Because I think we can have certain expectations going into the game, and then the event, the game, asks you a bunch of different questions, right? So you don't punish them in the first half, and you leave it a little bit open-ended going into the second half. I think they come out of the gates in the second half with a bit of belief that they can nick it. They've survived 7 or 8 chances on goal, and so now they're kind of growing into the game. And so, but again, I think that's why we talk about managing games. And we've been, like I've said this earlier, in preseason, it's been a really deliberate, intentional focal point for us is how do we manage games. Last year we didn't do a good job of that. This year we have a good blend of building from the back, like you saw in the I think it was the second goal was a fantastic build from the back goal where Rafa plays quick versus just slowing down so that they can set up so that we can play and within our structure. And I think you have to have a feel for this, and this is really important for us moving forward. When do we play fast? When do we slow it down? When do we go long? When do we go short? And so we'll continue to grow in this fashion. But I think I'm really pleased with the result. I'm really pleased with certain aspects of the performance. But again, I think our what we talk about from week to week is we want to be a better version of ourselves, regardless of who we play the following week.
And lastly, for me, the new players have come in. How's the integration going? It looks like you might have RSL, the front office, everyone involved has done a great job in finding some great new players that seem to have talent that is kind of off the charts.
Yeah, no, I think the alignment. I think again, I've been at many clubs, and I would say really in the last year and a half, 2 years, where ownership, front office, coaches, and players are all aligned is a rare thing. And I think when what I mean by that is, our ownership prides themselves on bringing in what they call builders. We want to build something, right? And that's their vision. That's how they run all their companies. They're builders. They want to build human beings along with professionals. And so I think an important aspect of that is bringing character people in here. And I think if you have an opportunity to speak to any of the new guys, you would say, wow, not only are they fantastic soccer players, but they're wonderful human beings. And so we have a bunch of builders in that locker room. And of course, myself, the rest of the staff, we continue to fine tune our crafts to be builders as well. And so when you have that alignment and you bring in great players with quality character, you get the team that we have today.
Pablo, congrats on the win.
Thanks.
With bringing in so many great players and, like you mentioned, being builders of good players with good character as well, is there anyone that you think deserves an extra shout out for being a builder of men?
It's tough because I can all the new guys, they're all in, and when in training, you hear Stein organizing the group and helping the younger guys. You hear Engel, Morgan, Sergi even. And so all these guys that have come in, they're almost like carbon copies of the type of character that you want in an ideal world. And they're for example, let me just give you an example. The guy that scored the second goal, Sergi Solans, now 10 minutes later has a tackle on the sideline and gets up and celebrates a tackle. Here's a striker that's celebrating a tackle, right? This is crazy talk. You can watch a million games all over the world. You'll never see a striker celebrate a tackle on the sideline. But why is he celebrating? Because he cares about the team. He puts the team first. And I'd say with all the guys that we brought in, they put the team first. And even a guy like Victor, who last year was starting all the games and now he hasn't been starting, but he comes in and works his tail off. And he says, I'm here for the team. I mean, these guys are just incredible. And obviously it's a lot easier to do when you're winning games. But again, I think that's what's driving the group is we don't want to feel what it feels like to not win games.
Awesome, thank you. And then with Victor coming on as a sub and instantly making a great impact, does that give you a little bit of a selection headache going forward where you have at every position a player who is starting caliber, who's starting on the field and also on the bench?
Yeah, I think it becomes more, it is a bit of a headache because we have such great players and great people. But I think if myself and the staff are able to build trust with the players, they'll know that we want the same things that they want, which is putting the team first and making the best decision for the team. And it might be the game, it might be a 3-game week. But what makes me feel really good is, especially in the middle of the midfield, we've had Luka Moisa start, we've had Griffin and Dillon start, and now Stein starts, and nothing changes, right? And I think that just speaks to the level of commitment and the level of training that these guys do to where they're ready to come in. And again, they don't want to let their teammates down. That's the peer pressure is the greatest pressure, right? And so I think is if we continue in this vein where everyone is committed, everyone wants the best for the guy next to them, we'll continue to hopefully win games.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good, Marcos. Pablo, congrats on the win. Obviously, in the first half, we saw the VAR. What did the ref talk to you about in regards to that?
Yeah. To be fair, I didn't know if they were reviewing the push on Sergi or if it was an incident with Gozo. I wasn't really clear, but I think it was the push on Sergi on the breakaway. So that's.
And then so far this season, especially these past two games, we've seen Noel improve a lot. Just talk about his improvement so far that you've seen this season.
Yeah, the way I explain Noel is that if you're just watching the game, he's not going to be on any reel. He's not going to be on any highlight reel. He's not going to be on any social media. Like, look at this, because what Noel does is he does all the little things well, right? He passes well, he tackles well, he communicates well, he positions himself well. He's all these things. And I think that's what's been lost in the game oftentimes because everyone wants to see a bicycle kicker, wants to see something. And great, there's players that can do that, and it's great if they can do that. But the most important thing is it goes back to John Wooden and the fundamentals. And when you do the little things well, you become an elite player. And he continues to improve and continues to impress as he moves forward in his career.
And then 6 games into the season for you guys without a clean sheet. Is that something that worries you, or would you say that's kind of a work in progress?
Yeah, I mean, again, we don't play to have clean sheets. We play to win games. And so if the opponent score 1, we got to score 2, right? And of course, listen, I love defending more than the next guy. I think it's a necessary component to the game. But if I say, listen, guys, we need a shutout, and it means we get less guys going forward, then we're missing the point here. We want to score goals, and obviously we want to keep clean sheets, and I think we're close today. But the most important thing is that we continue to be a threat on offense, and let these guys cook.
Go ahead, Matty.
Hey, Pablo.
Matty.
What did you make of the team's response when they extended the lead to 2 and then immediately gave up a goal? What did you make of their response until they could get the third and restore the 2-goal lead?
Yeah, listen, I think the players, all of you, myself, we all felt the same way. It was just like, oh no, it's tough. You have to weather the storm for probably the next 10, 15 minutes because again, now they're full of belief and we feel like we let ourselves down, right? And I think that's a really important character trait where the guys have to defend. They started sending guys forward. We're now defending the top of our box, and we got to make plays. The other part to that is we've also got to find ways to manage the game. So we get a goal kicks. At times we got to slow it down. At times we got to pick up the speed. And I think Hoffa and the guys in the back did a really good job of managing those moments to allow us to get into the game. And then the second goal was fantastic.
And during the week, you said it's not about RSL versus SKC, it's RSL versus RSL. Did you feel that tonight met the standard, or what did you see that you'd like to see cleaned up?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's very difficult, when you don't have games in succession week to week to build momentum. And it was always going to be a difficult game, and I think some of that rust was seen in the final third. But again, I think the fact that the guys got into those spots was really, really good. And I think we attacked better today than we did against maybe San Diego. We defended for the most part, we defended really well, probably a little bit better than San Diego. So again, I think we just want to be the best version of ourselves, and it just takes constant work and commitment to the cause. So I think we're one step better than we were last week, but obviously there's stuff that we need to clean up and improve upon.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
It seems like too much coincidence that Gozo's best game of the season comes with Diego coming back into the starting lineup. Like, is there something about those two? I mean, 2 U.S. internationals. Gozo will get a senior call soon enough, I think, where it almost felt like the best in Gozo was brought up just by and a little bit some more minutes, additional pressure coming in from Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I think Luna is got great vision, is able to find the best option in the attack, and that's another reason why we started Luna on the right. Understanding that Luna is going to float and roam, and that's what makes him difficult to defend. But during the week they had a really good week together. They made some really good plays midweek, and so I think Diego just has. He's our playmaker in there, and so he finds Morgan, he finds Serge, he finds Gozo, and so he's obviously an important piece. But I think that that Luna helps all the other guys, just like Morgan, I think, helps the other guys, and I think Sergi helps the other guys, and I think Gozo helps the other guys as well. So it's like, I think it's more about synergy than it necessarily is about one individual player.
Hey, Pablo, you've been the coach now here for close to 5 years. You talk a lot about individual moments in games, and if the pass was just this way or the ball just went 6 inches this way, you said that kind of thing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel to have a game where we hit the post or the crossbar 3 times and it doesn't matter?
That's it's the best feeling in the world where it doesn't matter. Yeah, because I'm like, man, we could have buried these guys in the first half, and it's not meant to be, and that's why this game is so crazy and so fickle. I don't know if you guys saw the Colorado-Toronto game. I mean, this game is insane in how moments change the psyche of the individual, and then also changes the psyche of the collective. And the most important part, I think, is that we stay true to who we are. We kept playing the same way, and we managed moments well. But yeah, you're right. I feel blessed to be able to say that 3 crossbars and it didn't matter. It's great to say that.
And then we talked about having selection headaches kind of all over the field, but I wanted to ask specifically about kind of Victor and Sergi.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because Victor obviously was a starter, Sergi comes in and he's been playing great.
Mm-hmm.
Is the selection headache there? Would you say it's more of a Victor thing or is it more of a Sergi thing? Can you kind of explain that?
Yeah, no, I think, and this is what I told Victor. I'll share with what I told Victor is that Sergi's in a great run of form, right? He's in a great run of form. This is a really long season, and it's about the team. We brought Victor here. I think Victor's a top player, but in this league, to be a great team, I think you have to have players that come into the game and change the game as well. It just can't be for 70 minutes because there's 20 more minutes to play. And so what Victor did when he came into San Diego was exceptional. He scored the goal that gave us the point. And so if we can